Unit 2, test retake. What is the value of x in the proportion? Question number 1. So I'm going to identify that I have a proportion. I've got 3 over 5 equals 6 over x. So I'm going to use cross products to solve this problem. And so I'm going to circle the two diagonals, and I'm going to multiply 5 times 6 because those are diagonal, and set that equal to 3 times x. And so then I'm going to multiply 5 times 6 is 30 equals 3 times x is 3x. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to isolate the variable or get x by itself. And 30 divided by 3 is 10 equals x. Just like this. So that is the answer to question number 1. You try. What is the value of x in the proportion? Question number 2. Robert bought 2 packages of cookies for $8. How much would 5 packages of cookies cost? So I'm going to set up a proportion to solve this problem. And I'm going to have my money as my numerator. So I'm going to go $8 for 2 packages of cookies. It says how much would 5 packages of cookies? So if the 2 packages is in my denominator, I know this is going to also have to be packages, and I'm going to label that with 5. And then here's where my money is going to go, and that's where my x is. So then I'm going to multiply my diagonals, just like we did in question number 1. I'm going to go 8 times 5 and set that equal to 2 times x. And I'm going to multiply 8 times 5 is 40 equals 2x. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 20. So my answer for this problem would be B. You try. Robert bought 2 packages of cookies for $6. How much would 3 packages of cookies cost? Question number 3. What is the constant of proportionality for the relationship modeled by the equation y equals 1/2 x? So I want to remind you that it's y equals rx, and r stands for our rate. And then the other way to say that is the constant of proportionality. So those are kind of the same thing. And so when I'm looking at my equation where it says y equals 1/2 x, my constant proportionality is going to be whatever my rate is. And in this case, it is 1/2. You try. What is the constant of proportionality for the relationship modeled by the equation y equals 1/4 x? Question 4. If the values in the table below model a proportional relationship, what is the constant of proportionality? So we're going to pick a data set. So we're going to pick, for example, we might pick these two numbers. X is 1, y is 5. Remember, you can't pick 0. That's important for constant proportionality, but that will not help us find the rate. And then we're going to write the y over the x. Remember, that will help us find the constant proportionality. So we're going to identify that the y is equal to 5 and the x is equal to 1. It's really important that you get this correct, the locations of these. If I look at my table, my x values are on top and my y values are on the bottom. But when we write constant proportionality or our rate, it's y over x. And if I go 5 divided by 1, that would give me 5. So my answer is B. Now, if you would have picked a different number set from the table, let's say 2 and 10, 3 and 15, 4, 20, all of those would actually do the exact same thing as well. So it wouldn't matter as long as you don't pick the 0, 0, which numbers you use. You try. If the values in the table below model a proportional relationship, What is the constant of proportionality? Question 5 says, which graphs show a proportional relationship? Select all that apply. Now, in this example, we're looking for a line that is straight and goes through the origin. Remember, the origin is where the x and the y axis meet. So if we look here at our three graphs, we can instantly see that A is a straight line but does not go through the origin. So we can eliminate that one. We can see that B goes through the origin but is not a straight line. And then we have option 3 here. And we can see that option 3 is a straight line that goes through the origin. So that would be our correct answer. You try. Which graphs show a proportional relationship? Select all that apply. Example 6, solve the proportion. So we're going to be solving for y. I'm going to use cross products to solve my problem. I'm going to be multiplying 4 times 12. And I'm going to be multiplying 8 times y. So it equals 8 times y. And so 4 times 12 would give me 48 equals 8y. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And I would get y equals 6. You try. Solve the proportion. 6 over 9 equals y over 12. Question 7. A proportional relationship is modeled by the equation y equals 2x. Complete the table shown below. So to solve this, we're going to multiply our input values times 2. So 0 times 2 would give me 0. 1 times 2 would give me 2. 2 times 2 would give me 4. 3 times 2 would give me 6. 4 times 2 would give me 8. And remember, the times 2 comes from right here, which is our rate from our equation. So then I'm going to look for the numbers that match, and I can see that this option 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 matches all my y values. You try. A proportional relationship is modeled by the equation y equals 3x. Complete the table shown below. Question 8. A proportional relationship is modeled by the equation y equals 2x. What is the constant of proportionality? So once again, in this one, we're looking at y equals rx. And remember, r is our rate, or also our constant of proportionality. And so if our equation is y equals 2x, we're looking at that number. And so 2 would be our answer for question number 8. You try. A proportional relationship is modeled by the equation y equals 5x. What is the constant of proportionality? Question number 9. Jim ran 20 laps in 5 minutes. How many laps will Jim run in 8 minutes? So we're going to solve this by setting up a proportion. And I'm going to put 20 laps. Laps is going to be my numerator. In 5 minutes. And that's going to be equal to, and identify what I have here. So I have 20 laps, 5 minutes, and then I have 8 minutes located right there. And so I'm going to make sure that my minutes, if my minutes is in my denominator in the first fraction, it has to be in the denominator of the second fraction. And we want to know how many laps Jim would run. So I'm going to label that with x. So I'm going to solve this with cross products. So I'm going to go 8 times 20. And I'm going to set that equal to 5 times x. And I know that 8 times 20 is 160 equals 5x. I'm going to divide by 5. and I have x equals 32 laps. You try. Jim ran 30 laps in 3 minutes. How many laps will Jim run in 9 minutes? Question 10. Greg bought 4 roses for $12.80. If the cost per rose is constant, how much would 9 roses cost? So I'm going to set up a proportion. And I know that it costs me $12.80 for 4 roses. And once again, I need to make sure that units match that are directly across from each other. So it says, if the cost per rose is constant, how much would 9 roses cost? So I'm going to label 9 roses as my denominator because it's the 4 roses is in my denominator of my first fraction, the first part of my proportion. So I'm going to label this x. So then I'm going to use a calculator, and I'm going to go 12.80 times 9. And 12.80 times 9, 0.80 times 9 would give me 115.2 or 20. And then I'm going to go 4 times x and have that equal to 4 times x, which would be 4x. 4 times x would just be 4x. So I divide by 4. And 115.2 divided by 4 would give me 28.8. And I can add the 0 for money, would equal 9 roses. You try. Greg bought 5 roses for $15.50. If the cost per rose is constant, how much would 9 roses cost?